Go.
Meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, November 28th. It is now 6:01 p.m. Town Council special meeting, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick.
Councilman Licciardi?
Here.
Councilman Messier?
Here.
Councilman Padula?
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico?
Here.
Council President Goslin?
Here.
There is a quorum. J.C. Tag Day, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Municipal court applicants, 6 p.m. applicant Raymond Lambert.
Ray, come on up. Why don't you just bring one of those chairs up? Sit right in.
Oh, I can sit over there?
Yeah. The hot seat.
Oh, am I all right sitting in the front seat?
Yeah, you're fine.
You gotta sit with me, Joe. I am. I think I might be your only friend.
Thanks.
I don't have to
the
interview.
I think you meant by the oxygen.
Oh, all right.
Good evening, Ray.
Good evening.
How are you?
Hi, Ray.
Got two applicants. Ray Lambert's the first one, and the second one is Norman Landroche. I have some questions. I know each and every one of you have questions, so who wants to start? Want to go left to right, right to left?
Choco.
Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I'd like to start by saying, I reviewed the applications again, the resumes again, quite a bit since Thanksgiving. And I wasn't going to do this, but I reached out to both Mr. Lambert and Mr. Landroche today. Not basically saying good luck, and is there anything you have for me? So I felt we, as an independent and not knowing really either applicant, I feel we're hiring a judge, and it's an extremely important position, and we need to give this due diligence. So I've come up with a few questions. I'm going to ask the same questions to you that I am to Mr. Landroche. First one, going over your resume, and both applicants are highly qualified here, and I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a judge. So any questions I may have, if I apologize if I'm speaking in a different jargon. So I kept them very basic. But looking at this, there's a lot. Your resume is very extensive. Is there anything that you didn't include on the resume that you would like to mention pertaining to the position that you're applying for?
Not really. There's a few things in there. As you all know, the municipal court deals with police matters, but it also deals with housing matters, minimum housing. In there, I just put that I was an assistant solicitor, as well as police prosecutor. But when I was the assistant solicitor, one of my jobs was to sit with the zoning board, which means property. So I'm conversant also with property aspects. I sat with the zoning board for quite some time as the zoning board attorney. Other than that, I didn't fill in with some of the things I did. When I was the municipal court judge, okay, I created the court. Not me personally, the council did it, but I was a legislative drafting attorney at the time. And I'm the one who was asked to draft the statute creating the West Warwick Municipal Court, which I did. And then the council, in their wisdom, I guess, chose to appoint me. So at that point, I stepped down from my chairmanship of the West Warwick Democratic Town Committee because I felt it wasn't, judge should not be involved in politics. I was also chairman of the City and Town Chairman Association, the 39 cities and towns of the Democratic Chairman Having Association. I was president of that. I stepped down from that, to do the court. Basically, you have to understand, I didn't create the court, but I did create the court. It was me that started it all off because nobody knew. The council said, hey, we don't know anything about it. So I drafted the legislation and then talked to them and this, and I'm the one who set the parameters of the court, the guidelines, etc. As a matter of fact, in my office, I have a big frame thing. The newspaper said, Lambert steps down from politics and assumes municipal court, and then trespasses open up the court. Because we had to do everything from scratch. Other than that, one of the highlights I had as a municipal court judge. I don't know if maybe Timmy is old enough to remember this. The Crompton Mill, it was a fiasco. That's in your district, I think.
Yeah,
It's in
Crompton's
your
mine.
ward. It was a fiasco. And I presided over the hearings and the trial.
The fire you're talking about?
No, Timmy knows, I don't know, it was a fiasco, the ownership didn't want to do anything, it was in disrepair and everything else. So anyway, I brought it to a head, and in the municipal court, I decided it once and for all, and we cleared it up. So much so that the Republican council at the time, it was a Republican council, that's why I was going, my 5-year term was up, and they wanted to appoint Will Smith, who's a federal judge now. That was the Republican council, because I was past Democratic chairman, so I knew that was coming. But they held me over for several months so that I could finish that Crompton Mill. And when I was finished with it, it was quite surprising. I went to the council meeting to tell them that, everything's done. I got a round of applause from the Republican council. So I always thought that was one of the highlights of being on the court and doing what I had to do. I also had to deal with some kind of, they were trying to put a strip joint on Ball Hill Road over there where the furniture store is, just like across the street from Metropolitan. And I had to deal with that too.
Monticello's.
Anthony's show place.
Mama.
Huh?
My Anthony show place.
Yeah.
Well, it was
No,
Mario.
Mario's is when it moved to Johnston.
Oh, well, whatever.
I had a family member that used to work there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a family member that used to work there.
All right.
So those are some of the things
All
that
right.
I did as a municipal court judge.
Being honest.
I wasn't going to use names. So those are some of the things I had to deal with municipal court. But other than that, in my resume, it speaks for itself. My education is there. I was very, very fortunate that, but I had to work hard for that, to get scholarships to go to Providence College in Notre Dame. And I had to work very hard to get that. So I was very fortunate in doing that, and I was fortunate in being one of the 20 people chosen to spend a year abroad in England studying English and American comparative law. And basically, that was criminal law because that's where the common law is derived from that. So that's basically it. But the resume, if you all have it, I'm sure, it pretty much speaks for itself of what I did. Now, what's interesting in my application is this. If you guys know, I prosecuted for West Warwick, that's one side. And obviously, for 45 years, I've been defending, not against West Warwick, but in other words, you could prosecute for West Warwick cases, but you could defend in Coventry. In Coventry, charged one of my clients, I could defend that in district court. But
So you
I
were
never
both-
defended anything if a West Warwick client.
You're both a prosecutor and a defense attorney.
Yes, so in other words, if you can understand where I'm coming from, I prosecuted for many years, I defended for 45 years, and I was a judge for 5+ years. So I was on all three sides. So I know where people are coming from. One side, plaintiff, defendant, and the judge. Very few people can say that they actually, did all three things. But in answer to you, Councilman Licciardi, what I did is, I did not take any cases against West Warwick when I was municipal court judge. It just felt strange to me. I didn't get an ethics opinion or anything. I just felt strange that on Wednesday, that's prosecution day for West Warwick, you're in there defending against West Warwick, saying that the police officer's wrong or whatever. And the next day, on the Thursday, you're in municipal court saying, oh, that policeman is before you now in a sense of, in a different way. So I said, no. So I abstained during those 5 years from doing any police work.
Any other questions?
I had two more, but I think you answered it.
I did?
Why should we appoint you, which kind of went into that.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty much, you kind of covered everything.
Well, I can answer that a little bit more. In talking with the council president a while back, the town of West Warwick obviously has some financial situations we don't have to.
You think?
Huh?
You think?
And I don't know if I can say it Council President, he said to me, I said, you know, I'm thinking of applying for that municipal court judge. He said, can you make us $1 million in a year? Because of the, no.
In light of what happened today.
As of today, you better double or triple
No,
that.
no, I'm talking about the ACLU and the police department in Charleston, basically. the
Oh, I
ticket-
didn't see that yet. All right. So in other words,
Writing tickets for money.
you need, I think, the municipal court, somebody to hit the ground running. And then I know what the problems are in West Warwick. I've not only been a practicing attorney for 45 years, I've lived in West Warwick all my life. Pretty much all the time on Laramie Avenue until I moved to 111 Wharf Avenue. So that's why I feel that I'm qualified to do this, because I could hit the ground running. Theoretically, I could sit tomorrow, because I know, I do what Norman said on his resume. I do traffic tribunal and district court and superior court. I do all that too. So I can hit the ground running, you know, tomorrow. And I told, if I can tell another story for Council President Gaza, I told him that day, I said, you know, I can save you money being a municipal court judge. I still have my nameplate in the robe.
Still fit in the same robe?
I still got the robe and I got
God
the
bless you.
nameplate. And again, Council, he laughed.
Jay, you have any questions?
I'm probably gonna have more,
Okay.
but after you gentlemen go. But I just want to say, after 24 years, what makes you, at this point in time, decide you'd want to be the municipal judge again?
Well, as I told you, I was not removed for office for cause. I was removed by the Republican administration. So I went along my merry way and I built up my law practice. And very successful law practice I had. But now I'm starting to slow down that law practice. So now I even have more time to devote to the municipal court. I mean, I could sit 4 days a week if that's what the council wanted. So in other words, I felt that under the circumstances, Johnny was doing a heck of a job, but then now he's leaving. So I said, well, I think I can fill in there without missing a beat. And so I said, I can do that. Because I'm still very healthy. I take 1 vitamin pill a day. That's it. And, you know, I go to court. I try cases. I do everything. Even your solicitor can tell you, he and I have knocked heads before in court. And I'm still sharp, so to speak, and, you know, I'm ready to go.
Do you think if things had played out differently and they hadn't dismissed you, do you think you would have stayed on?
I probably would have stayed on, yes. Because, like I said, I thought I was doing a good job, nobody was saying anything. And, you know, we started from scratch and we built it up and built it up and built it up. Oh, one more thing. I got Coventry's probate court. I drafted the legislation for Coventry, and I also assisted Judge Capaldi in starting his court.
Why are you asking all the questions, the answers that I want to ask some?
Gives you a
Well,
chance
that's
to
good.
follow up.
Yeah, I can follow up.
So that, you know, I probably would have been like John Brunel, 19 years or whatever. But the Republicans, and it didn't last very long because Will Smith went for, he's a federal judge now. And I'm the one who trained him. There was another funny story about that. At that point, it wasn't traffic tribunal, it was administrative adjudication division, the court, right, Tim? And I told him when he came in, he said, Ray, what do I gotta do? You know, and I said, well, it's almost like AAD, right? And he says, what's AAD? That's what he told me, so I had to train from beginning to end, what's AAD? Now, see, I did that, and I did traffic tribunal, which is the successor to AAD. But that's why. See, I didn't really leave voluntarily, but, you know, what are you gonna do?
Ray,
Oh,
do you have any others, Jay?
I probably will, but I'm gonna let you gentlemen go.
Go ahead.
Ray, what housing experience and traffic experience do you have?
I represent many, many clients in traffic tribunal, which is, you wouldn't call it a mini municipal court, but it's almost like the same thing. We do the same cases. And between the traffic tribunal and the West Warwick Municipal Court, or Coventry, or whatever. I've appeared in Coventry Municipal Court many, many times. Of course, I did West Warwick Municipal Court. I've appeared in traffic tribunal for an AAD. This shows you how old. For 45 years I've been doing that. Now, the housing, as I told you, I was the counsel for the zoning board as part of my assistant solicitorship. And so therefore, I had to acclimate myself with property rights and whatever, and, you know, zoning laws and everything else. I did that for quite some time as the assistant solicitor. So that's where I do the property situation, and I do that in my own practice. Besides criminal and family law, I do property law.
Okay.
Is that equivalent to an Al Di Fiore? For what you're talking, assistant
Yes,
solicitor?
yes, I would have been the Al Di Fiore back then.
The only difference back then, it would have been one solicitor directing a bunch of assistant solicitors to do certain things
Right.
versus having a zoning board, planning board. And so
Okay.
it was a little, just a little bit different the way the procedure used to work.
Okay.
And it was like Danny Harrop, or John Brunero Senior. I worked under John Brunero
Bruce
Senior.
Moore.
Bruce Moore. They would say, Ray, zoning board.
Okay.
Ray, the other thing, out of your 12 legal employment experiences, 9 of them are appointments by political appointments.
Yes.
So, and one I actually politically put you on, which would be
The Board of Canvass.
Board of Canvassers. From 1977 to 1995, those were all appointments, correct? From-
77 to 95?
Yep. And while you were appointed, you were also practicing, correct?
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Were you, while you were practicing these appointments,
Yes.
did you ever represent a client against the town that you were?
No,
Okay.
no, I never did.
Okay,
Because
just want to clarify that.
Because, which page were you referring to, Council President?
I was on page 3.
Page 3, legal experience. Yes.
Assistant Town Solicitor, Legal Counsel, Senate Judiciary Committee, Assistant Town Solicitor, Police Prosecutor, Juvenile Prosecutor.
That's the other thing I did. I had to do juveniles too while I was doing the adults.
Just want to clarify, so you've never defended a client in this courtroom, or just while you were serving?
While I was serving,
But since that point, have you ever defended, in this courtroom since that point, though?
yes.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, you know, if I was.
I understand, I'm clarifying,
Yes.
just not while you were serving, which,
Never while I was serving. I just didn't feel it was
but
right.
since this point, you have many
Same
times.
thing with the Board of
Yeah.
Canvassers. I don't do any
I
political
understand.
things because I don't think that's right. You know, but even then, you brought it up, the Board of Canvassers, as you know, I know you all know what we had to go through with Councilman Padula. We had hearings, I had to write an order for the elections board. Mr. Williamson got involved. We were all over the place with that. And when I went up there to argue the Board of Canvassers position, they had said, well, how come you didn't show up? I got Judge Erickson, of all people, to apologize to us for saying, okay, well, we're sorry, that's right, you weren't invited to come in, because they were trying to say we didn't come. We didn't do our due
Yep.
diligence, and he apologized. But yeah, all of these, and again, like Legal Counsel, Senate Judiciary Committee, like, Tim, are you still with the speaker? Yeah. Say, he can do, that's got nothing to do with, you know, representing clients, right, Tim? We just, I was legal counsel when Senator Evans was the chairman of that committee. And that's a big committee, just like Timmons is, because that does judicial appointments.
You're representing that committee as your client. That's all it is.
Yeah, and that's, they do judicial appointments. In other words, if the governor nominates you to be a judge, you've got to go before the Senate Judiciary Committee and get approved by them. And I was the only one, I'm the only lawyer, just like Timmy, he's probably the only lawyer for House Judiciary. That's a big appointment, I'm sure Timmy knows for himself. And then from there, Senator Evans went to the majority leader position. And it was majority leader then instead of Senate President. And when he went there, he wanted me to go, and I said, I'm alone, I'm a sole practitioner. If I go there and you move somewhere in a couple of years, I don't have a practice. You know, I gotta keep my practice. So he said, okay, I'm gonna put you down in ledge counsel, and that's how I got the ledge counsel for those years.
John?
Okay, so some of my questions have been answered, but I guess I have a philosophical question for you. So,
Sir.
I've seen you on the Board of Canvassers, I've seen you in action. I'm trying to envision you as the municipal court judge. What is your approach to courtroom justice? And I'm going to tie that in with, what are some of your personal qualities beyond your academic experiences that you think will contribute to your ability to serve as a municipal court judge?
Okay, when I was a municipal court judge, I tried to be as fair as possible. I won't use names. I can't use names, but I'm gonna tell you how fair I was. Someone was stopped in West Warwick for speeding, and you brought him here. And the police, my prosecutor and stuff said, we don't want him to use the good driving statute, because it's in the judge's discretion. And I said, wait a minute. Anybody and everybody can use it, as long as they're qualified, can use a good driving statute. Why do you not want me? Was he excessively? No. They had a problem with him, which I can tell you on the QT, and they said, we don't want you to do it. I did it, because he had a right, you know, to have it, whatever. So even like the Republican council, if for some reason they had come before me during that 2-3 month period when I was still the judge, but they were there, I would have said, they got right. If you've got a right to, if you're eligible for the good driving statute, I'm gonna do it, unless you can give me a reason. And that actually happened, and I can tell you who went with it, but I don't want to do it in public. And, so my demeanor, no one ever, you saw me on board, I don't yell. And I try to make it, actually, I'm like Judge Caprio, except he's got a TV program. I'm nice to the people, because, I mean, these are taxpayers, a lot of them are taxpayers in the town of West Warwick. They're coming here, and I say, well, listen, you've got to, you were speeding, and this is your second one, so you can't use a good driving statute. So, I'm gonna do this, but, like I would waive, maybe the costs if they, were really bad, and bad off financially and stuff like that. But I'm not a bull in a china shop in the court.
Thank you,
My
Ray.
personality is, some people like Andrew and Council President, they know my personality. I'm not, you know what I mean? I usually make jokes, and I try to make everybody calm down.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
No?
Angela?
Yeah. I'm gonna start from the beginning, Ray.
Yes,
When I first met you, we had a lot of dealings. We never seen eye to eye. I never got along with you, and you probably didn't get along with me. But through the years of working with you and observing you in different boards and different things, how you earned my respect is that you were always fair. You didn't matter, it didn't matter what party, what you were from, or who you were. You always went by the book, and you proved it again during election time. When I was going through that problem, and I'm not gonna bring up what, it was a dog and pony show. The people spoke, and they knew it was a dog and pony show. I never called you, I never asked you for a favor. You never called me. I knew I had enough confidence in you that you would go for what was right. And you always have been that, whether we agreed or disagreed, and I fully respect you in public, I'll tell you, whether we got along or not, I always respected you for your firmness, for your fairness, and you always took it to heart. You always had consideration, and you never went right or left. You went straight by the law, and you did the right thing. That I have to begin my question with you. Now, another thing that I like, that you are 45 years of practicing law, you're slowing down, you just told the council.
Yep.
You're slowing down in your law practice, which is a good thing, because you're not a young lawyer coming up and trying to make a name for himself. You want to give back to the town, seeing your service to this town. We sat on a Democratic Town Committee together, and you always said your piece. You always gave the law, not an opinion. It was always fact. And whenever I checked, and I do, I have many friends that are solicitors and attorneys, and I ask, because like Councilman Licciardi said, we're no attorneys, and a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. So I asked not one, two, I asked 3 or 4 attorneys, and like I'll call periodically 15 or 20 of my constituents, randomly pick them, not knowing them, just knowing them through campaigning, and ask what their opinions are or something. And that's how I make my decisions, and I know how you make yours. So a good point, which has me, your resume is impeccable. It's something to be proud of.
Thank you.
And you are not trying to build a law firm.
No,
You do not represent people in municipal court.
not if
And,
I'm appointed, no.
right. And,
Any court, district, superior, juvenile, I just don't feel it's right, because you're going against, the police officer. He'll be in the district court, and it's your job as a defense attorney to say, he's wrong. He's lying. Now, the next day, you're gonna be in here, and he's over here, that, trying to say that somebody was speeding, and you've gotta say, okay, listen to him, listen to the other side, and try and make a decision. That's where it comes. Once you put that robe on, you've gotta make a decision sometimes, and sometimes it's very difficult. And I just feel, let me point out one thing, and Tim knows this, I know he knows this. There's a difference between a conflict of interest and the appearance of impropriety.
perception.
Yeah, perception. So something can be said, this ain't a conflict, okay, but it don't look good. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think it looks good to be in district court on one day and,
And another thing I respect about you, you went against the system when it was your own party. I've sat side by side with you at the Democratic Committee. If you didn't like something or something wasn't fair, you spoke up. You didn't care who you got calls from, because you dug in deeper and you proved your point. And that's what I want to do. I want to take the politics out of this appointment.
It should
It is a political appointment.
yes, it is,
But to an extent where a resume like this is impeccable.
thank you.
That's all I have to say.
I wanted to say one more thing before you ask another question to Council Vice President. My personality, you can check the canvas board. They don't want me to leave. They don't want me to leave the canvas board, because Bert's right here. If I can say this, Nancy LeBlanc has called me, they love me and they don't want me to leave the canvas board, but I said, this might help the town better than the canvas board. I can make some money for the town, but that's not the prime interest, I gotta be honest with you. But in other words, the canvas board, and I asked Councilman Padula, I said to him, I said, if I leave the canvas board, 'cause they come after him every year. And I said, if I leave the canvas board, you had a problem too, with 5 votes and Ed Giroux. And I was very fair with you, you know that.
You were very fair.
And so, you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, Ray, there's another
My
rumor
personality.
going around that, and I had conversations with a few, Bert included, JP Millett. There was a rumor going around that if you got the municipal court judge, that they would all quit. And that's false.
No, that's not, I talked to them.
I asked
They don't want me to leave it.
I asked JP if he would be able to handle, if you were appointed, the canvassing board, and he said, definitely I can. He was a former councilman,
Nancy LeBlanc could too.
been involved. I know Bert don't want any part of being chairman, and I know Nancy Parenti don't want any part of being chairman, and that's a pretty good board, because it's whether you go for the right, you go for what's right. And that, I just wanted to clarify that maybe if he didn't get appointed, maybe they would quit, but
No, they
I'll
won't.
go for
I
that.
talked to them.
If
I
you
talked to
didn't,
them. I said, I had heard that rumor too. And I said, you're gonna quit? And they said, no, we're not gonna quit.
just
I will
wanted,
tell you that it was said directly to me
Yeah, I didn't wanna say who's.
when your reappointment came up.
Yep.
They said if you did not get reappointed,
Oh,
they will be.
that's a
More
different
canvases.
story.
Oh, well, that's a different story.
And if you left,
Bert's here.
if you left the canvas board, they would leave too. So I'm just letting you know, it was said directly to me.
Because
It's almost a penalty, though. It's not. It's
No,
not
I'm
right.
saying-
One thing's different from the other.
Chairman of the canvas board should be a Democrat.
Take the politics out, Bert.
Yep.
Yeah, right. I think he did a good job when he took over, when we recused ourselves.
To be
Can I
fair,
ask one more question?
Jay?
I'm gonna go off what Angelo said here. I'm an independent.
Yeah.
So I don't owe anybody anything, Republican, Democrat. I mean, everybody, to me, everybody's the same. Are you on the Democratic Party?
No, I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm not on the Democratic Party.
Okay.
I've been out for.
I'm a registered Democrat, but not for long.
I have it in my resume when I was on a town committee and when it ended.
All right.
I think, Tim, are you still on? Right, yeah, okay.
And there's nothing against, listen, there's nothing against Democrats. I'm looking at,
whispering?
there's nothing against the Democrats. I'm looking at this
Yeah.
as the word perception came out. And
Right.
since
Right.
we've been on the council, the word perception
if
is
I was-
always coming out, you know,
If I
so.
was, then I would quit if I got appointed. If I was, but I'm not. I'm not
Okay.
affiliated like that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a registered Democrat, that's it.
Well, you couldn't be with the appointment on a canvassing board anyway.
Any other questions for Ray?
I was just gonna say, our decision shouldn't be based at all whether, what it's gonna happen to the Board of Canvassers one way or the other. It's
No.
gonna be based
Thank you.
on-
I brought it up.
I'm just saying, either way.
Brought it up to Angelo last week. in conversation.
Actually, because I'm slowing down on the practice, I know I can't do it because of the charter, but I would do both. And you could keep the Board of Canvassers pay, $50 a meeting. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I would do both because I'm.
Well, you might be, that door was open a while ago,
Yeah,
as
well,
long as you don't get paid.
right, I'm a mile away from, not even a mile away from it. So I can come here in a snap, and so therefore it doesn't matter to me. You know, I would keep them both, but I know the charter says you can't hold two positions, so I'm not gonna get into that.
I challenge that.
I would keep them both. I don't think there's a conflict there either, between those two positions. And another thing I wanted to say, Angelo brought it up, and you did too, Council Vice President, about fairness and, you know, your personality. This last election was very contentious. The board found for Angelo against Stranahan. I mean, you know, et cetera. And then, but there was another incident where somebody was running for school committee in Ward 4, I believe. And he was a Republican, but he lived in a house on the side of the house that was his residence or something like that. Does anybody remember that?
I do.
Okay, Joe Florio said. We listened to it. We let him know he was a Republican. Felix was here. Felix Huffman was yelling and screaming. "No, no, no, no." We let him run. Republican. We found for you, Democrat. He said, "You're not going to be a Democrat."
I always ran as an independent the last 6 years.
At the last financial town, not the financial town meeting, the all-day referendum, Mrs. Satchel, what's her name now?
I don't know
Mary Ann,
her.
you know.
Dupree.
Dupree. She came in, she wanted to vote, but she had changed her voting address to Coventry and stuff like that. I said, let her vote, put it at, we did our provisional. So that'll tell you how fair I am and, you know, what I do and stuff like that. I try, you know, I try the best I can.
And you've been practicing the whole 45 and a half
Oh,
years?
yes.
At eight
Oh,
and a
I'm
half?
glad you brought that up.
At 8.5 Laramie, right?
That's my law office.
That's where you've been practicing.
I live somewhere else, as you know.
I know that. I'm saying,
The
your
elephant
lower
in the
office,
room, remember?
the elephant in the room.
Remember? She's
Sorry.
there. And how's your ribs after Mr. Prince? But I'm glad you brought that up because there's certain things, you know, people ask, you know, 8.5 Laramie Ave. That's the old homestead. But like I got a law office in there, but I live at 111 North Avenue and I've been voting there. You know that. That's your ward for 88 years. And I've been, you know, but there's one thing you brought up that I wanted to say, and I'm sure it might apply to Timmy too. 45 years of practicing law, no disciplinary complaints, none to the disciplinary board. No lawsuits on my malpractice, etc. Nothing. My record is completely clean, 45 and a half years. I'm proud of that.
You should be.
No client has ever sued me and I haven't had any disciplinary complaints.
All right, thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Want me to leave this chair?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ray.
You have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Let me see Norman? Is Norman in the room?
I don't know.
We'll go see if he's in the hall.
I didn't see him.
Probably didn't think it was appropriate to come in the room. Can I grab a drink of water from the back somewhere?
Yeah.
Sit there. Just stand in the hall. Norman, you can sit up there. Okay.
Norman.
All right, Norman, we're gonna start from my left to right. We have some questions, and answer them the best you can. And if we're not looking at you, it's because we're writing, so don't take that personal. Jay?
I'm gonna start by saying the same thing I said to Mr. Lambert. I reviewed the resumes extensively since Thanksgiving. They're both excellent. I'm not a judge and I'm not a lawyer. So, again, forgive me for anything if I missed the jargon, but, and I spoke with you today, the same as I spoke with Mr. Lambert, just to say good luck, and, you know, it's a judgeship, so it's pretty important. So I have a few questions. I'm just gonna ask the same one to be consistent. Looking at your resume, is there anything that you did not include in your resume that you would like to mention pertaining to this position?
As far as my background in education, no, there isn't anything more. I mean, as far as just my personal life and the things about me, really being all about West Warwick and living in this town, raising my children here and going through the West Warwick school system. I mean, certainly there's those aspects of my personal life that, you know, are beyond the four corners of, you know, my education, my upbringing. So most of my acumen is within the resume that I sent forward in my cover letter.
All right.
And I will have to tell you, a little nervous. First interview in a long time, so.
I'm just gonna ask the second, why should we appoint you?
Well, I do think, certainly you have two qualified candidates in front of you. Certainly I respect Mr. Lambert. I've known Ray for quite some time, both at a personal level and certainly as a lawyer within the courtrooms. The difficult thing, I think, during this process is you have to kind of be your own cheerleader. It's nothing I usually normally do about speaking great about myself or trying to, you know, plug someone other than yourself. So I think if you look at my resume, I've been a practicing attorney now. I went to Roger Williams Law School. The first time Roger Williams opened up, and it was the extended program. So at that time, I struggled through law school at night. My wife actually had my 3-year-old daughter. She was pregnant with my second daughter. And of course, by the time I got out of law school in that, over the next 3 years and the summer sessions, I had 3 children when I graduated. From that point, I've been practicing regularly with only one firm. The firm is Murphy and Fay. My 2 bosses, one being Mark Fay, he's a civil attorney, does civil plaintiffs work. He's been practicing for about 30 years. My other boss is known to people in West Warwick, is Bill Murphy. He's a criminal attorney practicing somewhere in the same amount of time, 28, 30 years. From day one with them, I've been in the courtroom. I've been in the courtroom both trying cases, pre-trying cases, handling all aspects of cases. You know, if you look to the percentage of where I am, I would think if I could break it down for you, I would say 70% of my practice, what I do for the firm, is either district court work or Rhode Island Traffic Tribunal work, which includes, of course, municipal court work. The additional 30% is usually in Superior Court criminal cases, and some civil work. Not as much civil work, but certainly now I'll delve certainly more into the civil area as well. So I do think I have the experience. I do think I've handled every aspect of what litigation or what even matters will be here. I have a lot of work in the traffic tribunal, certainly in respects to any moving violations that may come in front of this court. I know I certainly could handle them. Will it be something new to me sitting as a judge? I can't tell you it won't be. Instead of advocating just for one position or defending an aspect of it, now I'll be hearing a case, but ruling on it. And I think I can do that, and I think I'm ready for that. I am 51 years old. I do know that I'm quite, no disrespect, Ray, I'm quite younger than the other candidate, but I do believe I'm up to speed to be able to handle myself as a municipal court judge if you choose to appoint me.
Anything else? Jay?
We spoke a lot about Ray's extensive resume. I want to ask you what you think you bring to the table that Ray doesn't.
Well, that's a tough question because, of course, I know Ray certainly has many more years than me. But I think now, being where I am, as the laws change, the courts changes, also the way that we do litigation changes. Everything's going to a modern technology era, okay? So now the e-filings are in, certainly something that's newer to most courts. It just started in Superior Court a few months ago in the criminal divisions. The Traffic Tribunal has been online e-filing. I'm well versed in the e-filing system. I do know that we're not connected, municipal courts, to the e-filing system as of this point, but I think that's somewhere that we're probably going to be going someday. We deal out of a portal. We utilize the portal, I think, with municipal courts to communicate privately with the Traffic Tribunal. So I have my hands on the newer technology. I can speak for myself as far as the ability to utilize the computers, as far as filing paperwork. I think sooner or later we're going to get away from all paper. And I think things we're going to slowly accept them. It's difficult for some people to accept them. I've taken the position to go with how the courts are changing. I do believe that the municipal courts will certainly be going there, and I think everyone should be up to speed. I think I bring that as far as getting apprised of those scenarios. We deal with the DMV regularly by computer. Most of our transmissions between them, ourselves, or dispositions from the traffic court or any court go directly by computer. So that's something I think I bring that's very valuable.
Thank you.
Anything else? Norman, you basically said you spent a lot of time in the traffic tribunal. So what housing experience and traffic experience? Because now we have a lot of housing matters here.
Sure. So the housing, I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you I don't have a lot of experience housing. I've certainly never sat within a housing issue. I do know that the minimal housing issues come here, certainly at first blush. They have a de novo review in district court. I do know the violations of ordinances of both the building and zoning also come here de novo, and then they go to Superior Court within 10 days. You know, I do tell you that I was a firefighter. That's on my resume for 21 years. So certainly I'm well aware of the issues in West Warwick, just in my career, as far as minimum housing violations, as far as those issues, whether they're zoning, building issues, or the like. So it's something I certainly think that it's going to take me a little time. There's going to be a learning curve with me. There may not be with Mr. Lambert, but I certainly say there will be. I'll be honest with you, a little learning curve. But I do know within the people I'd be working with, if I'm on this court, the building officials, the fire department, which I've already worked with in the past, you know, the lawyers that are involved, Al Diafiore, and certainly in respects to receiverships, the solicitor himself, I think I'll be able to bring all the parties together and try to look to see what is a resolve in these certain areas. I do know a lot of the issues, certainly with any violations and the like is about the ability to give time, give relief and the like. I mean, we've seen that when the fire code changed very drastically after the station fire. Now the Fire Code of Appeals, which I've appeared in front of quite a bit, it's about getting relief or bringing the parties together. What needs to be done? Is there a timeline? Certainly a lot of the folks that will be in front of the municipal court are town residents, are town taxpayers and the like. I certainly got to see it as a perspective, sitting as a West Warwick municipal judge, that these parties have some, certainly some standing and some genuine issues being here, and you hope you can at least bring a resolve into that, in that aspect.
Norman, since you said it, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Station fire, you might not wanna say, but who was one of the very first people there, if not the first person there?
Well, I mean, I was on that evening. I don't speak about it publicly a lot, but certainly I was on the first ladder company with my partner David Pimentel, and the engine company with Lieutenant Roger St. Jean and Aaron Perkins. So,
And what year did you retire?
sorry,
What year did you retire from West Warwick?
I retired in my when I hit my 21st year in West Warwick. I was a young age of 46 years old, but I did have the appropriate time.
Not your age, what year? What? Station fire
2011,
happened in
it says it on his
2003.
resume.
5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
He's
so
51, so.
2011, I retired. I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't
that's
hear my question. I should have listened a little bit.
And one last question I have, since you work for Murphy and Fay, would there be any conflicts as a judge?
Yeah, I'll address that, and certainly, I did have a conversation with the ethics attorney as well. A little history of just conflict. Of course, conflict is something that all lawyers and ethics, all lawyers should worry about. Certainly, I would never want to put my bar license or my ability to practice law in any harm's way. That's the first thing I look at. But starting with even Judge Brunero, who sat here when he initially took this judgeship years ago, he himself in 1998 asked for a advisory opinion that was ruled. And that allowed him to rule about the conflicts of appearing in front of any other entity in this town. When I say entity, I mean town board, the probate court, the planning, the zoning, the like. And the advisory opinion came back that as long as there's no subject matter in the municipal court, you have the ability to sit as a municipal court judge with no conflict. And of course, if there's no financial gain from any of course, it would be anyone from my firm, Murphy and Fay, or anyone coming in front of me from my firm, which of course would never happen. And further, they gave me some cases, and the last one, which is the most pertinent to my situation, was clearly I do private criminal defense work, and I do quite a bit of defense work, and I do get a lot of defense work from the town of West Warwick. There was a 2003 opinion. It was Robert Humphreys, actually a colleague and a friend of mine. He is partners with his brothers at the time in Tiverton. They do private criminal defense work. That advisory opinion is still good. He asked the town, the ethics board, if he could maintain his private representation of criminal clients in front of the district court when they are charged by his own town, the town of Tiverton, if he sat as an appointed municipal court judge. And they ruled yes, he can, as long as that subject matter does not come before the courts, as long as he has no access to confidential information to those cases and the like. So if I could shed maybe something about my representation, if it would be a DUI that West Warwick charges, of course I don't sign it. I don't sign it. I don't have to take any part, nor am I consulted by the police department. The DUI would go to district court. If it was a chemical test refusal or moving violations, one could end up in the municipal court. I can't tell you they can't, but under the rules of the traffic tribunal, the municipal court judge doesn't really necessarily have to recuse himself. He can just ask the town clerk to transfer that one violation to the traffic tribunal, which will handle that jurisdiction. Will it happen? It may happen. Will it happen a lot? I don't know. I certainly know both Ray and I would as John did, experienced former clients and clients that, of course, we'd have a conflict with. I mean, we'd have to move it to the traffic tribunal, so it would be heard there. We can't certainly hear those things. So, the answer in short, I don't see it being a conflict. Sitting in a municipal court, Judge, certainly I know the jurisdiction of this court. I know the ability to transfer violations if they are attached in any which way or form. I would not be privy to, I would be privy to the information if I was in the district court case, because I have the ability to file discovery in that case. But I would never put, I would never take any of that summons here, nor, and at the same time, I know that I'd have to transfer it.
Thank you. John?
Okay, Norman, so I have two questions. One deals with philosophy, essentially, philosophical ideas regarding the judiciary. So what will your approach to courtroom justice be?
That's a great question. I think I do have to give some kudos to the judge who just retired here in West Warwick, and I think if I could emulate a little of John Bruniero's style, I mean, I think everyone takes a little piece of those judges or those aspects of judges they like. They would take that, and saying that, John, I think how I would approach it, I certainly want to make the forum of the municipal court comfortable. I do know that probably most of the people that will come in front of this court are pro se litigants, maybe their first time into any type of court, and they might think this is the Supreme Court. So I think it has to be a comfortable setting. And sure, there'll be a judge in front of you, but I think they have to feel comfortable. They certainly have to be heard if they have to be heard. I think one of the biggest things is to listen to people. Listen to them and listen to them, and they want to be heard. And then ultimately, I would like to see that fairness or justice is put out there. When I say that, I can go to court and I can go in front of a judge and I can represent a client, and I may not get the best results. But when I can walk out knowing I went in front of a judge that made me feel good, that heard my client, and may have ruled against me and my client, I think that's a good thing. And I hope people that come in front of this court, if I'm appointed, might take it with them that, you know what, it wasn't a bad experience. I felt okay, and I understand why you ruled against me.
My second question is a character question. What personal qualities beyond your education do you believe will make you a good judge?
Well, I think, again, I'll say I listen well. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of listening, because you're actually listening to those in front of you, where in my other role as an attorney, you're advocating. And I do believe, I think I have a good ability to listen. Listen, I raised 3 children at this point. They're 25, one will be 24, and my youngest is 20. All women. I live with 4 women. I
get that.
I can handle stress. I can handle drama. I can handle a situation. So I'm going to give a lot of credit to my wife, but ultimately my parenting skills to think it's going to be a good tool to utilize if I get appointed as a municipal court judge.
Okay, thank you.
Angela?
Norman, I see your resume when you started. You were employed for the town from 1991 to 2011. You retired in your 40s. Now I see that you got your law degree in 1998 while you were employed for the town of West Warwick.
That's correct.
So did you go part-time while you were a fireman to get your law degree?
I did. So that's, again, the extended program at night Roger Williams offered. So that was for a lot of, the older second job opportunity people that went for further their education. So I did go part-time at night, Saturdays and summers. Yes, I was employed full-time with the fire department, Councilman. I had the ability to do mutual agreement switches with all my dear firefighters in West Warwick, and they saved me with that. So I owed them a day, but certainly I had the ability, and it was tough raising kids at the same time, but I did, I was able to go part-time at nights, in the summers, as I was full-time employed.
Good for you.
Thank you.
The other question, you're not an active member of the Democratic Town Committee any longer.
I am
from
not.
what- And now, what just puzzles me a little bit, you work for Murphy and Fay, which is a great law firm. You represent hundreds of clients. And my question is, you are an associate partner in Murphy and Fay. Now, you're going to be risking all the cases that are against the town of West Warwick and your law firm, which will not be able to handle any district or superior court against the town of West Warwick. Now, what I'm getting at, you said you're younger than Lambert, which I understand. We're all younger than Lambert. No offense, Fred. I just had to get that in. But
Can you clarify the question? I don't
yeah,
understand the question.
I'm gonna clarify it right now. Ray is getting tired with his law firm, relaxing a little bit, where yours is sparkling. You have a great future ahead of you. The law firm has a great future ahead of them. You are giving up representing hundreds of clients with thousands of dollars that you can't defend in this court,
In this court, municipal court?
municipal court, or anything against the town of West Warwick. It would be a conflict.
No,
Do you understand the question?
I do, and I think I've already spoken on the conflict. There would be no conflict, and I certainly will get you an ethics opinion to that aspect, and I spoke on both which is the most pertaining to me applying for this job, the Humphrey advisory opinion, is that I could still represent clients, councilmen, in the district court that the town of West Warwick has charged. I could still represent clients in the Superior Court in felonies matters that the town of West Warwick has charged, because that subject matter jurisdiction is not with the municipal court.
So my concern is, and again, perception, as Councilman Licciardi said, you'll be here on a Thursday charging someone with DUI or whatever that's not a conflict of interest, and then you'll be in district court or superior court representing someone who is charged saying that they're not DUI. Do you see where I'm getting at? One seat you're sitting, you're defending the town of West Warwick and the West Warwick Police Department for stopping that certain individual for speeding or or whatever criminal charge he's charged with. And then you're gonna go to Superior Court and you're gonna defend him against the same fine you're giving that person that comes before you in municipal court.
Well, no misdemeanors from district court, no felonies come in front of the municipal court. If anything, if it's a related DUI or a reckless driving charge, that another summons might be coming to this court. That would be what I spoke about transferring that to the Rhode Island Traffic Tribunal. There is no question, there is going to be two different roles with me. I'm not prosecuting the violation that would be in front of the municipal court. I would be hearing that and ruling on it, okay? And then as the defense work, I'm defending my client that West Warwick has charged. All the advisory opinions says that's acceptable. That is not against the canons or the ethics of that. And you know, even Judge Brunero, I mean, if he appeared in front of the probate court or planning or zoning, it's the same thing, Councilman. It
Well,
really
that was always brought up by the constituents. How can you represent a municipal court?
Right.
And Johnny always had that, and then you're before the planning board, going for land development or something. That was always
And it-
perception set.
Right, and his conflict would be if somehow through a violation or a zoning breach or something, that subject matter would end up before the municipal court. And that absolute conflict that he could not hear, it would be as same with me in respects to my private criminal law practice.
Any other questions? Nothing? Thank you, Norman.
Can I just thank each and every one of you? I didn't
Thank
start out with thank you, you jumped right to the questions, but I do appreciate this opportunity. I would like the opportunity to be appointed to municipal court. I certainly will be working for you, the town council, and I will take it very seriously and certainly do the best of my ability. And I wish Ray the best of luck as well, so I
And you
thank
know,
you.
again, thank you, Norman, you've always been a gentleman,
Thank you.
whenever approached, and
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Nice to meet you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
very much. See you later.
For the record, one of your kids heard what you said about living with 4 women. She snuck in behind you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
thanks.
I grew up with 5 sisters. I know the feeling. Yeah. Explains the candles, huh?
All right, next steps, we can talk about it next week. Ernie's gonna be sending out an email to have executive session about, our email he sent us today, so we could talk about it in personnel matters then. Any concerns?
For Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday, 6
I
PM,
believe he sent the email.
What time?
6 PM.
Exec session.
I have one thing to say, which it's bothering me, and this has come up regarding the position twice already, and I don't think there's anything malicious behind it, but I don't think it's irrelevant whether an applicant is 25, 45, 75, or 105. And age is come up twice already, and I just don't think, again, I don't think it's malicious, but I just don't think it's appropriate when we're hiring anybody.
I think,
So-
and I don't know if Norman's still here, I'll speak on what I think he was trying to say was technology.
Well, it wasn't
It's
from
coming-
him,
no.
it came from our panel,
Wow.
and that's what's concerning, so,
I personally don't care if the person's 102, as long as they can do the job.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
I think when age was brought up, it was about technology. I think that was about all I heard. I don't know, maybe I missed something up here.
Well, it was brought up last week too, I mean, it's just kind of, it's just concerning to me, that's all. It's-
Yeah,
no,
someone
it-
made
no,
the
it wasn't
comment,
When we
yeah,
when we
made
spoke
the
about.
comment, if I had to vote for a younger one or an older one, I go for a younger one. That's what you're
I
talking
think I
about?
said,
So-
and we never closed those minutes, so I'll be more than happy to share what I said. I said,
I'm not accusing, I'm
Well,
just
wait,
saying,
wait, wait,
I
wait,
just
wait,
feel a little
wait, wait,
uncomfortable,
wait,
that's all.
Wait. It was
I'm
still
in the
said,
meeting,
some of
I'll
the
put it
things that you're talking about were said in executive session. Even though the minutes haven't been closed, normally you're not gonna be free to discuss what
You
you
could
want.
just say it again.
Well,
then-
well,
Right.
Right, I'm
So
just,
don't
all right.
Don't
I'm-
refer, you said it before.
Sorry, all right, it came up tonight,
Yes,
so,
or some other time besides executive session.
yeah.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There's no public comment on this, Alan.
It can be next week.
Next week, but it wasn't on this agenda.
But the decision
Public comment comes in the beginning of the meeting.